Oh, yeah! Ladies and gentlemen!
Are you ready for your moment of bliss?
Because what Poppy wants, Poppy gets.
Yowie wowie! I don't even know if that's PG! Acknowledge me! Woo! Oh, you didn't know? Well, let me tell you something, brother!
Welcome to the most must-see WWE talk show in history. Welcome to
the Cream of the Crop Wrestling Podcast.
The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better! It's still real to me, damn it!
Hello and welcome. This is the bottom line of Raw, October 24th, 2022. A review with the best view of the world of wrestling. You're listening to the Cream of the Crop Wrestling Podcast, your dad's new favorite podcast. We are your mega powers of the program. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Rob, and please embrace the kingdom of the madness by sharing, and subscribing. Pat, tonight was a show.
Was a show? Is that the word of the word of the night?
No, the word of tonight is I will say tonight's word is Gargano.
All right.
He was everywhere tonight. He was everywhere.
All right. Well, I already know that holds true because as we start Monday Night Raw, we're gonna get to see Judgment Day making their way to the ring to give us another Judgment Day classic promo. Rhea Ripley tells us AJ Styles found out last week what Mommy's known all along, and that's that Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw. And that Dominic is all man. Damian Priest tells us all to rise and to show respect to the greatest luchador in the history of the business, Dominic Mysterio. I cannot roll my R's worth a damn, but we're going to move on.
White
Dominic
people.
Mysterio.
We're two white guys, just letting everyone know.
Dominic Mysterio then says he then tells us that he beat AJ Styles clean, which we all know that's not true. He then says he's this generation's Eddie Guerrero before retracting and saying that Eddie is more like Eddie's generation Dominic Mysterio. The OC comes down. They compare him to Jimmy No Chin, James Ellsworth. Then Finn addresses AJ and drops a line that he started the club. He's been reminding us this week after week that he started the club. But here he drops a new line that we haven't heard, and that's that everybody that came after him since him leaving the club is just living off his legacy. I don't know what to say about that, honestly, but it's definitely an ooh type of reaction for me, and I wasn't expecting that. But as we go on, then he drops the best line yet and says that the Judgment Day are in town, so step up or get put down. Carl Anderson cuts a promo setting up our first match of the night, Finn Balor versus Carl Anderson. What do you think about this Judgment Day promo?
Dude, this promo, I just have one word: heat. Oh my gosh, dude, that crowd hated them. And it wasn't go away heat. It was, we strongly hate you guys heat, which is awesome. All four of them. Okay, Damian Priest did not say anything. He literally just told the crowd to rise, and they were just pissed. They did not. That's all he told them to do was just rise. He didn't say anything. He just said rise, and they're all like, "No, we hate you." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." Dominic Mysterio. We'll talk more about this at the end of the night when we talk about best promos, because Dominic Mysterio was hands down. This was his A game moment. Holy crap, the lines, the look, the delivery. You have thousands of people raining boos on you, louder than they've rained on you probably since Clash of the Castle when you turned, and you just smugly just stared right at them and looked at them and just said, "I am this generation's Eddie Guerrero, one of the greatest of all time." Holy crap, what a line. What the balls on that dude. Rhea's not wrong. He said that. He is all man. Oh, yeah. Man. So yeah. I was all in on that. AJ and the club came out. Again, their sense of humor is a little bit more middle school for me, and I enjoy it because you could just tell the Good Brothers that's just their cup of tea, and AJ feeds off of it. So I don't mind it at all because it just fits them perfectly. And it set up a match that like I've seen before, but again, I'm excited to see again. I love me some Carl Anderson, and I love me some Finn Balor. Carl Anderson's a dude I want to see get like a kind of a singles push. Like maybe I don't ever really want to see him like win a U.S. title or anything, but to feud and have some like a good series of matches for like a U.S. title, I'm down for.
Well, let's kick off our first match, Finn Balor versus Carl Anderson. They go back and forth for a second, and then Carl Anderson hits a low drop kick to Finn's knee, starts targeting that knee for the duration of the entire match. They trade momentum back and forth, and Anderson hits a massive running power bomb from the corner to the other side of the ring, hits a nice diving neck breaker from the second rope, hits a beautiful superplex, but just when he should have won it, Dominic distracts the ref. AJ pulls him down from the apron. Priest tosses AJ over the announce table. Gallows gives Priest a big boot, and Rhea Ripley body slams Luke Gallows. Meanwhile, Dominic distracts the ref again, and Rhea low blows Carl Anderson. Finn Balor wins. Rob, please tell me what the hell just happened.
Uh, Probably so match wise, it was a good match, solid match. I like I just said it 8 seconds ago. I want to see more Carl Anderson in single matches because I think he's got something there. Two things. One, AJ Styles, dude, he like bounced off that table. Like what a bump he took there for them. Like that was big. And then two, Rhea Ripley's the biggest star out of everyone that was there in that whole entire segment. Like that body slam, like holy crap, that is the China spot. Like she is getting as big as China was back in like 98, 99 era.
I
Like
believe it
this
was being
woman.
called the body slam heard around the world on Twitter. But yeah, it
Oh,
was
nice.
definitely
Fantastic.
definitely impressive. Absolutely. That she gets
Oh
to
yeah.
do that
Dude,
spot. We
and
haven't
credit
seen something
credit
like
to Luke.
that since Nia Jax, basically.
Right. Well, and okay, a few things I had to say about that actually. So, credit to Luke Gallows, by the way. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it makes Gallows look weak." Yada yada yada. Okay, Gallows has been wrestling for about 15, 20 years now. There's nothing he can do that's going to make him look weak. All right, the dude is great. So hush up on that one. He made her look like a star by doing what he needed to do best. So that was a great spot, and he did it perfectly for him. Secondly, the Nia Jax spot, it actually reminds me of right now, I feel like no one can get the upper hand because no one wants to hit Rhea because she's a female. You know who would? Randy Orton. That's who would. Because
You
Randy
know,
Orton RKO'd Nia Jax. So if Randy Orton were out there, man, he would take care of Rhea Ripley in a heartbeat. So, but
I was
but
just saying
so
it was definitely like we don't ever get to see like the strong physicality between the men and the women.
no,
And
no, we
that's just not a spot WWE does all the time. And I mean the
understandable.
yeah,
Like,
but yeah,
yeah,
a good
understandable. Like, we all know like, we're kinda waiting. We all know we're waiting for Beth Phoenix, and that's gonna be what it's gonna be. We get that. But in the meantime, Rhea right now is the shining star of Judgment Day. She's the shining star of this whole entire feud, and she's not actually even in any of the matches. And right now, she is the most over female on Raw. And she's not the champion. She's not even a championship feud. And it's great to see as a big Rhea Ripley fan and who's jealous of Dominic right now. Oh gosh, yes.
well, after a quick recap of last week's antics of Johnny Gargano threatening to blow the whistle on The Miz, we see Johnny backstage still sporting the whistle when The Miz goes up to him, who wants to know what Johnny thinks he knows and presumes to act like there's nothing to know. Johnny tells The Miz to tell the truth. Miz says Johnny is the liar, so he's going to the ring to tell the truth right now. The Miz comes to the ring and admits he's been keeping a secret about the night he was taken by Dexter Lumis. He tells us Dexter targeted him not for his boyish good looks or his A-list status. No, he was targeted because he took Tommaso Ciampa under his wing instead of Dexter Lumis. And anyone who has seen or heard from Ciampa needs to please let the Miz know. And that's when Johnny Gargano comes down to tell us that that's not what really happened. He says that he just texted Ciampa, and Ciampa isn't missing. He's actually injured. So his so-called best friend is not in contact with the Miz right now. The Miz says he's been telling the truth and nothing but the truth. And that's when all of a sudden Hard Truth music hits, and he comes down singing his song, asking everybody what's up in his home state. The Miz and Johnny look confused and surprised. Hard Truth gets to the ring. It says Miz wanted to tell the truth, so he's here. A frustrated Miz goes off on the truth and says, starts talking trash about his home state. There was a line about mac and cheese. And truth, that was the final straw for the truth. Said you can't diss North Carolina's mac and cheese. So this sets up for our second match of the night, R-Truth versus The Miz. What did you think about this?
So two things. One, it's just a simple fix. I get very frustrated when you'll see wrestlers who will go out and do promos wearing a suit or wearing street clothes. And then sometimes they'll do random promos where they're already in their wrestling gear, and then all of a sudden a match just happens to get started, quote unquote, out of nowhere. And that always annoys me. And the Miz does that more than anyone, where I'm like, okay, dude, we know you're in a match obviously because you're coming out in your gear, and then you come out in a suit the other times. Like, so pick one or the others if you're going to do a quote unquote match out of nowhere. But secondly, Triple H is gonna be the opposite of Vince McMahon when it comes to hometown people. He loves he knows, he understands you wanna put your person in front of their hometown and then also get the win. That's a very different thing too than what, Vince McMahon likes to do. Let him win in front of their home crowd. But this felt very Vince McMahon era wrestling to me. Like, literally, I don't know what they're talking about with the whole truth thing at all, to be honest with you. It just felt like a one long joke just to get R-Truth out on there, and for just, like, one small laugh. I don't
Well,
know.
Truth
I
Truth does have a big history of interrupting the Miz, though.
He does, that part's fine. I am okay with all of this because I feel like it's just biding our time till we get the DIY reunion, and I'm happy. So,
Well, that's the important part here.
that's all
Is
that
it?
matters. That
That's
all that
the
matters to me.
that's the exact important part because obviously Johnny Gargano is the one that's in
Mhm.
contact with Tommaso Ciampa, not the Miz. And you even hear somebody when Johnny's walking out and he mentions that, you hear somebody in the crowd yell DIY. So
Did you,
if
yeah,
they've
but that's the
already,
important.
I think this is the seed of dissension between the Miz and Tommaso.
Right, and I'm
So
okay with that. This is one of those things where Triple H inherited a weird pairing with Ciampa and The Miz, and he's trying to fix, the wrongdoings or whatever. But my favorite part too, did you see Earnhardt tell Miz "fuck you"?
I didn't see. Seen him say something to him, but is it? Did he say "fuck you"? No.
Yeah, he did. He totally did. The camera got it.
Miz versus Dale Earnhardt Jr. at WrestleMania. No.
No, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. God, stop.
All right. Well, we don't really have to talk about the match very much because this is our second
It's
match of the night, and it was R-Truth versus The Miz. This match went in a way where Miz controlled most of the time, and Truth started to come back after a little while. He started a John Cena-esque comeback because, that's just his all-time favorite hero. The Miz would stop him cold when all of a sudden a hooded figure appears ringside and distracts The Miz for R-Truth to get the roll-up pin. The hooded figure revealed himself to be Johnny Gargano, cosplaying Dexter Lumis. This was short and sweet. Rob, tell us what's up.
Match wise, it was what it was. Got the roll up. We'll move on from that part. It was very 2011. Truth got to be in front of his home crowd. Cool for him. Um, I did like Gargano dressing up as Loomis on the outside. That was fun. We're gonna talk about him a little bit more. I know he's a babyface, but Gargano kind of comes across as a dick sometimes. And this is one of those cases where he's just kind of a douche to the Miz, and then later in the show he's kind of a douche to JBL.
All
So we'll get there later. The segment was what it was, people. It's entertainment. We'll move on.
right. Well, let's see. We go to the locker room where Kathy Kelly is having a sit down interview with Candice LeRae when they're interrupted by Bailey with the rest of Damage Control, Io, and Dakota. Bailey mentions how they've put Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and Becky Lynch on the shelf, and there's no one around to stop them from doing the same to Candice. And Candice says they've only proven that Io is still untrustworthy, Dakota is still spiteful, and Bailey is still not champion. Bailey pushes the camera over and Damage Control attacks Candice out of view. Rob, I believe this is definitely an injury angle that we're getting to see here.
I beg to differ. This is the one I really wanted to talk about, actually. They didn't show anything on camera. They push the camera over and you hear scuffling. Candice LeRae is a better heel than she is a babyface. We all know that. And then also, we have a women's War Games match coming up where Damage Control needs a fourth member so that when Bianca has her four members, it's even.
Hmm.
I think that since they didn't show the scuffle, the camera was off, he wants to make you think that she attacked Candice LeRae. But in all reality, I think we have Candice going to be joining and being the fourth member of Damage Control.
I like the way you think.
So I enjoyed it. It's a little swerve. I like it. It looked like it was a nothing segment, but I think there's more to it than that.
I don't think you're wrong. Let's keep moving on because the next thing was Elias walking backstage, who finds Matt Riddle, and he still has his bongos. Elias tells Riddle that Elias has a history of being interrupted, and he swore if it was to ever happen again, he would do something about it. But since Riddle and Ezekiel were so close, he's going to let last week slide. But next time, he might not be so nice. Riddle doesn't seem to understand because he's been hitting the bongs all week. Elias then looks like he's about to hit Riddle with his guitar when he's interrupted by the Alpha Academy. Gable asks if they're in a band, says, what would they call themselves? Blink 180 Shoosh. Elias.
Sorry. I love that line. Sorry.
Elias reassures them that they're not in a band. And this obviously hurts Riddle's feelings. And since they interrupted Elias, this sets up a match later, Elias versus Chad Gable. Rob, what do you think about Elias looking like he was about to hit Riddle with his guitar?
I don't know where this is going yet. I'm still kind of just being patient with it. Uh, Personal opinion. I really enjoyed seeing Serious Riddle with the Rollins feud, and then now I feel like he's just reverting back to goofy Matt Riddle, which he's allowed to do. He's allowed to be both, but goofy Matt Riddle doesn't scream main event. Goofy Matt Riddle doesn't like RVD had that whole same kind of vibe about him, but he never had like the joking over the, like he had a little bit more gravitas to him than that. And I feel like Riddle, when he goes through these segments of comedy and entertainment, he kind of, I don't know, man, it just doesn't come across as like, oh, this is a dude that could be a superstar of the future. Like it doesn't come across to me that way. So, but segment wise, they're all four funny. Like I like them a lot. I'm cool seeing that. Like I like the 420 references. I like Chad Gable in anything. I like how Otis is always just there standing and never says anything, but he's got so much personality in him. I feel like I don't know. So like I just love it all, but I just as a fan, I'd like to see. I think Riddle is above what I'm seeing.
I like the Elias heel tease. But let's talk about our third match of the night. Austin Theory versus Mustafa Ali. Seth Rollins comes down and joins us on commentary. Theory pummels a distracted Ali at the beginning of the match. The crowd starts chanting Seth's song. Theory hits a brutal hanging neckbreaker to the floor, draping Ali on the apron. Austin Theory gets too confident and does his selfie pose, and that's when Mustafa starts the comeback. That's when Theory hits a wicked reverse neckbreaker. And just when Ali almost has Theory, Seth gets involved, distracting the ref. Theory knocks Ali off the top turnbuckle, hits the A-Town down, 1, 2, 3. Seth celebrates with Theory, then attacks Ali, throwing him into the crowd, then goes to leave up the ramp, and that's when Ali comes flying through the crowd at him. And I think this was a good pull apart here at the end. What do you think about it?
First of all, let's get the important part out of the way. Seth Rollins' suit tonight. I'm gonna give him a 6.5 out of 10. Love the color. Would have loved to see. I love the white shoes with it actually too. That was actually a big point, but I felt like it was just lacking something. He needed something more. Either head, something accessory wise on the head or face is what I was missing tonight. But as a match, fantastic. I will watch Austin Theory and I'll watch Mustafa Ali do a match anytime. That dude can work his ass off like no one's business. But I thought this did a lot for Ali more than anyone else. Rollins is almost over the top obnoxious when he's on commentary, like the laughing, man. Just I understand what the role is, but man, that just it was a lot. It was a lot tonight. Um, but I thought Ali came out like the biggest winner here, even though he was the loser of the match. He came out looking strong, showing a good showing just as a match. But having that pull apart and just having that, they really call it like the bulldog in him, like the little pit bull that just kind of never quit kind of attitude. I
Mhm.
feel like they're starting to show that more and more and more with him, and I think it's a good step in the direction for his character. So overall, I thought this entire segment did everyone involved improved as a character. I mean, Theory got a win. When's the last time we saw Theory get a win? So I thought everyone improved as a character throughout the whole show, or throughout this whole segment, I should say.
Yeah, I really, yeah, well, the lime green was great. Him being on commentary is a little much at times. The bad acting is what got me when he was on commentary. It's not that he was just so overbearing, it was just overbearing with the bad acting. Like he would start talking about Ali getting the comeback or whatever. Like, oh no, what's he doing? Oh no, he's in the zone. That type of stuff. Yeah, it's just like,
Mhm.
geez, like that was a little too much for me. But other than that, yeah, Austin Theory finally gets a win, and then Ali gets to, like you said, have that little pit bull in him, and I
Yeah,
think that's definitely important to his character development here.
and before we move on here, like no one ever really watches it, but he was on Raw Talk afterwards,
Mhm.
and he talked about how like he doesn't see himself winning the United States Championship or anything like that, but he did say um I think he talked about that Seth Rollins is gonna have a big, Mustafa Ali problem on his hands, and he's just showing, like, anytime he gets his chance to get on the microphone, he's really, like, shining on his skills on that front and showing the confidence, and, so I encourage everyone to go watch the Raw Talk interview because it was excellent, just nice little grittiness to him, but, again, if this is just gonna be a match at Crown Jewel, cool, it's gonna be a good, nice 15, 20-minute match. If it goes farther, also cost like, I'm also down for that, so
All right. The next thing we get to see is Johnny Gargano in the halls. He's on his way to check on Candice LeRae after being attacked, like he said. And The Miz stops him and says Johnny deceived him earlier. Gargano says The Miz has been deceiving everyone. The Miz storms off, and then Gargano bumps into JBL and Baron Corbin. JBL rips on Johnny for being an indie darling, says he should introduce himself to a legend properly. Uh, this sets up a match later on for Johnny versus Baron. What do you think about this segment right here?
a couple things. I am all for I am actually still all for the JBL Baron Corbin pairing. I think it's excellent. Um, I love the Miz trying to the Miz is still a dick, but he's trying to sympathize, being like, "Look, your wife is hurt. I understand. I have a family. I have a wife. All those things." He always pulls that crap, and I love it so much. But also, I do love how Gargano is. He doesn't. I'm trying to think of the right word here. He is the modern day babyface. Like a modern day babyface in wrestling is a smartass, is funny, is stands up for themselves kind of thing. One of the lines I loved here is where JBL was talking about how like he wouldn't have been able to like carry their bags back in the Attitude Era, and Gargano's just like, yeah, I was like 8. Like,
Mhm.
that's that's the kind of yeah, yeah, I was 8. I
Exactly.
mean, yeah. I love those comments. Like I love when it's old man shouting at clouds and you can just put him down in a heartbeat like that. So I enjoyed that a lot. But also because I this was an old NXT, and I think Baron Corbin did this one too, or I forget if it was someone else, but like their whole gimmick was they were a homegrown talent and they were just picking off indie darlings one by one by one. And there was an NXT rivalry back in like 2017, 2018 that was big on that one, and I can't remember if it was Corbin or not.
He didn't even get to.
So,
He didn't even speak here. It was JBL that spoke for him, basically.
I think that's on purpose. I think that uh, I think that's on purpose for right now. I think there's actually going to be more to it than that. Where I don't think we're going to get a Corbin face turn because Corbin can never be a face. But I think we're going to get to a point of like, I want to say Corbin is going to get to a point where he's not only had enough of JBL, but also to the point where he's going to put JBL in his place, and we're actually going to get a little bit more sympathy on JBL.
Well, let's move on. The next match, and I say that with quotation marks, was Omos versus 4 local talent guys, and I could already tell this was not going to be fun. MVP cuts a promo about Omos, and we get to see his hands compared to one of these guys' heads, which are just ginormous. They're like his hands are like hams. So I mean, goodness sakes. Then we get a fairly short-lived 1v4 handicap match. Omos just smashed all these guys with no effort. Stacks 2 on top of each other for the foot on the chest pin and gets the win.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
Wash, rinse, repeat. We're just going to see this until we get the Strowman match here in a couple weeks. So that is it.
Different having 4 of them, I guess.
I mean, yeah, but
And then
yeah,
I did like that they did show the comparison of his hands. You have to actually see how big he really is compared to a normal person.
Yeah. No, all that I understand, but yeah, it's just gonna be the same old until we get that match, and so they're just kind of biding their time, and cool. That's all I got. Is cool.
Well, we get our 4th, or this would be our 5th match it'd be the 4th match if you don't want to count that last squash match as a match, but our 4th official match, Chad Gable with Otis versus Elias. This is Elias's first match back in WWE. They have a good grappling bout here, a few hip tosses, a couple headlocks. They're having an even matchup, and that's when Otis pulls the rope down, causing Elias to tumble to the outside, and Otis starts saying, "Oh, what a terrible accident." This is just kind of funny to me. Gable had a few good high flying moves here. I believe there was a flying headbutt. Otis tries to get Elias on the outside, but ends up running into the ring post. Elias hits almost what looked like a pop-up crossroads, or basically like a pop-up swinging neck breaker. They didn't have a name for it on commentary. He pins Gable 1, 2, 3. That's when Otis has recovered by then, and both him and Gable attack Elias, who is then saved by none other than Matt Riddle running down to the ring. What are your thoughts?
First of all, Elias looked better than he did before he left, and when he was Ezekiel. Are we allowed to say he was Ezekiel? uh, yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But no, I thought Elias. He looked. Yeah, I thought he looked more agile. He looked a little bit more smoother in the ring than he did prior to leaving. So I was really, really happy with that. We'll talk about the spot later, but this match had my favorite spot of the night in it. So I was, good with that one. Um, I love Otis and everything he does. There's nothing wrong with anything I saw. This was a fun match that didn't have to go too long. It was good, very average, a very good TV show match. I think I don't think we're seeing a tag team form with Riddle and Elias. I don't think that's in the cards. But I'm okay if they want to be friends for now and just see what happens. But otherwise, yeah, no, it was a nice TV match and good way to get Elias back on television. Trying to figure out if he's still a face or a heel yet, but otherwise, yeah, it's good.
It is looking like Elias owes Riddle now. At least owes him one. But
This is true.
The interesting part to me was Elias and Gable having the little grapple bout back and forth. That
Yeah.
was something I mean, I know Ezekiel was pretty physical and technical in that way too. So, but to actually see uh, Elias and with somebody that's a good technical grappler like Chad Gable, I like that at the beginning. That was good. But let's move on to the next thing, which was after a recap of Judgment Day beating up the OC earlier, we get to see the OC in medical. Machine Gun Carl Anderson is icing his bullets, and the club agrees they have a Rhea Ripley problem. But Luke Gallows says he has a Rhea-lution because he's the best with women, and body slams are his love language. He walks out saying he'll handle Rhea. Anderson and Styles say he's terrible with women. After it shows JBL coming down to the ring, it then cuts back to Gallows returning to medical, clutching his Gallows. Apparently, he got a low blow from Rhea Ripley as well. AJ then says they're going to do something about Rhea Ripley. What do you suppose they're going to do?
I just safely assume they're going to go get Beth Phoenix because
That's what you think? You want to
I think
know?
that's.
You know what
Ooh,
I
do you have
want?
something better?
I've got something better.
Ooh, enlighten me.
Liv Morgan.
Okay,
I think it's Liv Morgan, especially
talk
since
me into it.
she's already on this unhinged, etc. character development, right? You know, her and Rhea do have history, and their feud was cut short, it almost seemed like. Liv ended up jumping to SmackDown with her briefcase and all that stuff. Right after, like, it didn't seem like we had a good settle ending there to, and I was liking, like, Liv being a part of the club before that. If you remember that,
Fair.
right?
That was all. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I think she's what's going to end up being an option.
Can I give you two other possible names? Now, these are lower on my list, but two other possible names. One, Shayna Baszler.
Hmm.
Haven't seen her in a bit. Now, I feel like she's got, feel like they have other plans for her, but she's an option. And then the other one for me is a return of Dewdrop, but coming back as Piper Niven. Because I don't know why, but I feel like her and Gallows and Anderson together would make me laugh hysterically, and they would be wonderful as a trio screw. So those are the only two names that I think are lower on the list of who could come back and who could be the problem. But Liv Morgan's a fun one, but for me, it's going to be Beth Phoenix until I get proven otherwise. There's just too much of a track record right now.
Well, to anyone who's listening to this right now, comment what your thoughts are on who you think's going to join the OC or at least aid the OC in fighting Judgment Day. All right, but let's move on because it's that time of the night. It's time for Tall Tales with JBL. I don't even want to talk about the promo because it's a repeat of last week. He rips on the home city, the crowd, and I mean it's good for it's cheap heat to me. It's what it seems like. It's
Yep.
cheap heat, and I mean yeah, sure it works, but with JBL, especially like he wants to sports reference everything, and it's just I mean it's annoying. It's
Yep.
more. I mean, I guess that's what's if it's working then, right? If I'm annoyed, is it working?
I mean, it works for the crowd there, but like if you're some dude hanging out at home, you're just kind of rolling your eyes, to be honest with you.
All right. Let's move on to the match because it was Baron Corbin versus Johnny Gargano. This was your classic technical high flyer versus power brawler match. Corbin resulted to using the outside of the ring to batter Gargano into the ring post and into the barricade. He slams him on the announce table, and then at one point, Johnny Gargano is standing on the announce table and puts on JBL's cowboy hat. He then does a tornado DDT to Baron Corbin, leaping from the table, wearing the cowboy hat. Johnny is on the comeback. This is where he gets overconfident with himself, and JBL trips him hard on the apron when the ref isn't looking. Baron Corbin hits the end of days, and then he beats Johnny Gargano in 1, 2, 3. What are your thoughts about this match?
This is a nice classic Gargano match. That dude, honestly, I think it's impossible for him to have a bad match when he's given time, and he was given time. Secondly, I thought Corbin looked great. I think he's slimmed down and gotten a little bit more athletic than even when he was just a few months ago when he got taken away by JBL. So kudos to that human being right there for sure. And thirdly, I never thought I'd say this. The right person went over. Like the future for to me Gargano is DIY. That's the future, so it's okay. Corbin right now has a higher ceiling to be up the card, especially with the pairing of JBL. So to me, that was the right move. And I'm gonna say this every time we watch a Corbin match. The end of days is just one of my favorite finishers. Like I
Looks
love
nice,
that move.
doesn't it? It's
It
smooth.
does. It's a
Definitely
good finisher. The only thing I wanna make sure that doesn't happen with Gargano, and I think it'll be okay as long as he doesn't get hurt, I just do not want him to be this generation's Dolph Ziggler, where he's just in there because he can do a good match. Like, I hope
right.
there's eventually will be more follow through later down the road, and I think there will because Triple H loves him some Johnny Gargano with good reason. But I think the future right now is a DIY reunion. That should be the focus. Gargano doesn't really need a singles push or anything like that right now, so I am okay with what happened. I thought it was similar to the theory segment earlier. Everyone involved is slightly better as a character when the segment was over.
Right. And Johnny doesn't look bad in this match at all, even with taking the loss, because he took the loss because of JBL. So,
And
and
he
I
took a
mean,
loss too because if we think about main roster status, Corbin is a veteran, Gargano is a rookie. If you just think about main roster status.
seniority at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not a bad match. The next thing we get backstage real quick was Kathy Kelly talking to Bianca Belair, who tells us tonight is about payback because damage control has taken out all of her friends, and she won't stop until Bailey is left with absolutely nothing. And that means it's time for our main event of the night. Bailey with damage control, Io Sky and Dakota Kai at ringside versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. This match was definitely a good match, probably a must-see match for sure. Candice LeRae update before the match started was that she has a sprain to the left shoulder. So that was on commentary, undetermined time when she'll be back, at least, till another update. But this match kicks off, and they inform us that Bianca has been champion for over 200 days. They start out slow at first, but then they pick up with some grappling. Bailey starts to target Bianca's left arm. Bianca is more agile and more powerful, but Bailey uses her ring intelligence to avoid some of Bianca's moves and continues to work the arm and just starts wearing Belair down. Bianca hits some powerful moves during this match and she begins her comeback, but Bailey uses cheap moves like hair pulling and results to the outside of the ring, still concentrated on Bianca's arm. There was a nice attempt of Bailey trying to hit the KOD, but Bianca counters it into a Bailey to belly. Bailey ends up hitting a super Bailey to belly from the top turnbuckle. Damage controls start to get involved, but are caught by the referee, who then slides to the outside of the ring to tell them that he's kicking them out. When out of nowhere, another woman, who we do not get to see her face at first, jumps from the top turnbuckle, taking out Io, Dakota, and the referee. Bianca hits the KOD, but there is no ref to count. We then find out the mysterious woman is Nikki Cross, not Nikki ASH. She's not wearing her superhero gear. She's more or less in street clothes. She then takes out Bianca and leaves. Another ref comes down and counts the pin. Bailey is our new Raw Women's Champion. Before Bailey can celebrate, Nikki Cross comes back and starts attacking Bailey. Corey Graves tells us Nikki Cross is on Monday Night Raw and is going to be a problem for everyone. Rob, are you excited to see Crazy Nikki back?
I am excited to see Crazy Nikki back. I did not enjoy Nikki ASH. I loved Nikki Cross. I love the crazy character. Mostly 'cause she plays it really, really well. Like she does a good job coming across as someone you don't really want to be just randomly across the street from. So I appreciate that about her immensely. You're adding another person. Nikki's going to be one of those people to me that maybe we'll get a title match on a B pay-per-view kind of thing, but to me she will always be kind of just a gatekeeper, which is a perfect role for her completely. But it was a way to do a quote unquote false finish for this match leading into the pay-per-view when they finally have their kind of blow off of the entire title here. But for the match itself, dude, what a good main event for Monday Night Raw. Like that was a solid match. I loved the Bailey trying the KOD and Bianca getting out of it just to turn it into her own Bailey to belly. That was a nice, wonderful touch there. I liked that a lot. This is a feud that I'm kind of done and over with because I feel like these women have kind of just been around each other for long enough. It's similar to the Riddle Rollins feud. But when they are together, similar to the Rollins Riddle feud, the match is always good, so I can't complain. I'm just ready for it to move on, but I love the matches they put together. Both women work really, really well. But yeah, no, this was a double thumbs up for me for the entire segment. Excited to have Nikki back. Excited that Nikki's in a good character, and then I'm also excited because I just like watching good wrestling, and that was good wrestling.
But are you excited about Bailey being our Raw Women's Champion?
Yes.
Okay.
A
So am I.
because okay. Here's why. This is just me thinking about the way Triple H thinks. I know in his head he would love to have the Sasha Bailey match at WrestleMania just once. And next year may be his only opportunity. So I am more than happy of getting that belt on Bailey. And then if Sasha makes her Rumble return or however the hell she's gonna get that title shot, I'm in on. Like I to me, all roads lead to that.
Well, I enjoy. I'm glad that Nikki's back. I like that she's back in a serious role. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Nikki ASH character at all. The other thing is, I'm also glad Bailey is our Raw Women's Champion. This match, like you've said, this is a Raw Women's main event that we've had, and it's a great match. Uh they dragged it out long enough before you get to see any like actually funny stuff happen. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it really gave them time to show off. And Bailey, I think she delivers every time. Maybe we're looking for. I'm expecting Bianca to be part of War Games. So I'm hoping we're not looking at another time off situation here from Bianca because that wouldn't be good. But yeah, there was that KOD to the Bailey to belly. I mean, I was like, wow. And then I really liked the solidification that they gave us that Nikki Cross is not joining Damage Control.
Yeah.
So she definitely proved that. So that was definitely an important part. But let's go ahead and talk about our favorite moments real quick and run down the list. First up, we got our least favorite moment of the night, the near fall of the night. For me, it's going to be the Omos handicap match. And it's just because I'm over these squash matches that we have to see all the time between giants and local talent. So it's just been something that they've dragged on a little bit too long, especially with Omos. And I think he looked great during this. He did. I mean, dude is getting definitely better and better every time. He's more fluid and agile in that ring. And it's a good spot for him to get to show off his skills. But throughout the entire show, it was just the only part of the show that I just did not particularly like. What about you?
My Mine was the first Gargano Miz R Truth segment. I don't need to see R Truth in another match for the rest of my life. I'm okay with that. Uh, and I just felt like everything. This felt very Vince McMahon, where I felt like they were using the word truth and just making this long 10-minute joke just for our truth to walk out for one small laugh, and it just, yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about the bump of the night, the best move of the night. It would be for me that Bianca reversal to Bailey, that KOD reversal to the Bailey to Bailey. Like that was just really nice. I think it's gonna get bump of the night.
I love it when I love when wrestlers use their opponent's finishers on them. That part's always fine. My favorite spot of the night was in the Gable Elias match. It was the Gable moonsault and countered by Elias with the high knee to the face. Yep, I like
Very,
that one a lot.
very Kurt Angle-esque of him going for
Mhm.
the moonsault and even the diving head. Definitely something you don't get to see out of Chad Gable all the time. And
Oh no, not at all. No, but that was
I think
that
it's
was a good
something he should.
spot.
Let's see. Showstopper of the night. For me, it's just, yeah, the showstopper of the night is just something that makes you just, stop the entire show and go, what's going on? It could be good, it could be bad. For me, good. It was definitely, and I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's our truth. He was
Ugh.
the show. I should have seen it coming with them mentioning you have to tell the truth so many damn times. But I always enjoy a cheap R Truth laugh and just him coming out when he's not supposed to be there. I love that long running joke in WWE. One thing about it that also makes me happy is R Truth not around the 24/7 title, but classic R Truth moment. So showstopper for me. What's yours?
For me, it's the Rhea Ripley body slamming Luke Gallows. Yeah, honestly, everything from that entire opening first 25, 30 minutes of the show was great. Judgment Day has been so revamped, but Rhea with the body slam, Damian Priest, all he had to say was the word rise, and the crowd was fucking pissed at him. And then you add on top of it, man, like just Dominic saying that he's this generation's Eddie Guerrero. Then just cherry on top saying, "No, Eddie Guerrero was his generation's Dominic." Dude, Judgment Day from beginning to end all day long was great tonight.
Is that who you're going to give your Savage promo of the night to?
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah, I
just
was going to
everything about
say
that.
that definitely goes to Dominic Mysterio as well.
Yeah.
He had the best line of the night. It's expected heat. You know what I mean? Like for him to say something so bold is definitely he's gonna get heat for whatever he says, anything along the lines like that.
Yes.
So I thought that was great. The best match of the night. What's your pick?
It's the main event. Yeah, Bailey and Bianca by far had the
Same.
best match. There was some good match. There was good wrestling on here tonight, but they had a nice classic old school style match.
Yeah, definitely in the main event for me as well. And especially like I always really enjoy when the last match is that barn burner match. Overall, best match of the night for me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. That was the bottom line. You can embrace the madness by finding us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cream of the Crop Wrestling. Follow us on Twitter at Cream of the Crop W. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by searching for Cream of the Crop Wrestling. You can check out our TikTok at Cream of the Crop Wrestling, and you can find full episodes of our podcast on Spotify and Anchor right now. Until the next episode, we hope you enjoyed some wrestling with us. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Rob.
And thank you for listening to Cream of the Crop
Thank you
Wrestling.
for listening to
Good night.
Cream of the Crop Wrestling. You can embrace the madness by finding us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cream of the Crop Wrestling. Follow us on Twitter at Cream of the Crop W. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by typing Cream of the Crop Wrestling in the search bar. Have fun with us on TikTok at Cream of the Crop Wrestling. And you can always find full episodes of the podcast wherever podcasts are found.
Nothing means nothing.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
More, I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. You know that I'm the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better. Oh yeah.